Dusty, our ward that was adopted very temporarily by our band of heroes, was returned to town last week and gave up the cure for the illness inflicting him as well as Mackenzie Lloyd. And the party took it upon themselves to see Dusty through his illness and headed to Griffin's Roost, riding through the night to get there just as day breaks. The party was quite exhausted at this point. On the way, a strange sight was overhead. The bottom of a gray ship with a red-tipped bow. It sailed through the skies, headed north by northeast, just ahead of the clouds rolling overhead. Upon entering Griffin's Roost, it was a strange sight. Fog clouds appeared as quickly as they disappeared. A remnant of the once great tower lay in rubble towards the center of this desolate valley, and it was creepy and eerie. The group encountered various shades of the small, lingering memories to form of the small folk who vanished long ago. No, that was a bad sentence. But on the way to cure, another shadowy figure revealed itself. The god of the grave. But not the exact image our heroes expected. From the nose to the chin, from ear to ear, their jaw was tied shut over and over again with thick rope threading in and out of their face. The fate cleared some rubble, revealing a perfect bloodberry plant, the cure Dusty needed. And a strange creature began to rise from the ground, a 3-headed, 12-winged griffin, billowing with hatred, which the gods swiftly vanquished with a throw of their shovel. Seemingly, they passed ways peaceably. But Jules wanted to know a little bit more if the opportunity was there. He asked for an answer to his quest, how to cure his sick elder, and he was presented with 2 visions. One revealed a set of ingredients from strange lands, boiled in a pot, made into a potion, and the other hand revealed a vision of the words, of the letters, R-U-N. Run. Here we go. Underlined it.
That scared me.
Started a raid. Yeah.
Get that timing.
Yo, we were just talking about you guys. What's up, Lark Network? Welcome on in. How was roguelite? They're playing a roguelike D&D campaign where they have guests on every single session on Tuesdays, and the guests are all different, but they play the same characters every single session.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I have at least 6 questions. It's fine. We'll get to it later.
It was chaos.
Welcome on in, everyone, from Lark Network. If you don't know who we are, we're the Torpid Gaming Network. We are a variety channel, and on Tuesdays, we stream tabletop RPGs. And today we are streaming our original campaign, 11 Fates, with a very special guest, Catieosaurus. So welcome on in. And if you guys are here, go give Lark Network a follow. Me and Kate are going to be over there on Saturday playing D&D. So big friend of the channel. Welcome in.
Welcome, friends. You're here just for the end of our recap, which is probably the most important part of a recap, because who cares about that earlier part? So yes, the fate, the god of the grave, revealed 2 visions to Hunt a Jewel that could possibly grant his wish. One hand revealed a potion and the ingredients on how to make it, and the other one wrote out, "Run." The eerie vibes then forced our heroes out of the valley, and after only briefly being separated, were able to fight their way back into a normal road. But this road was long. They'd been on the trail for nearly 30 hours now, so they needed a place to rest. So they circled a homestead and found our crew arriving at the Smythe home. Smythe?
Technically Smith, because you don't pronounce the E in Old English, but we've kind of been leaning into the Smythe. Doesn't matter. She'll answer to either.
The Smith home, just south of Bestellan. The horses went to the stable, various beds were made, and just before sleep could sweep over our team, 3 loud bangs came onto the door. Brutus was ready for his duel. That's the recap, friends. Did I leave out anything that you might want to drive on home?
Yes, very much so, and I'm exceptionally displeased about it. The vision that Hunted Jewel got was he needs to find the cabbage cactus. That is canon, and I will not have that be left out of the recap.
That is true.
I thought you were
Brutus.
I don't know,
Brutus.
Cass. Who is Brutus?
Brutus is a man in a contract, a dueling contract here with Catieosaurus. So that's going to be fun to see where this goes. With your 2 levels of exhaustion, I believe it is,
Yep.
Cass.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Great.
That's a thing.
Real exciting. And something we didn't cover in stream, but you'll find out very shortly. Our characters leveled up last week. So let's see how many shenanigans they can actually get into now that they are level 2. Welcome.
But if I'm going to Bargain, I'll take their lies and their secrets down with me.
A chosen champion of the gods.
Better remember the name Hunted Jewel, because the next time you see me, I'm going to be buying out the whole bar.
Welcome to the Tale of 11 Fates.
And welcome back. As we dive on in, we rejoin 3 of the people you see in front of you. Catieosaurus, Hunted Jewel, and Rowena. At Rowena's home. I believe everyone was trying to get some sleep. Dusty, the teenage boy with you, plopped and immediately fell asleep, as only the young can do. The horses went galloping off to their stable, as they have all been awake for close to 24 hours as well. They've earned their rest. And yet, 3 loud bangs of metal on wood greeted you all before you could get to sleep. It was the one, it was the only Brutus, a large, bald man who got Catieosaurus to sign a contract that outlines some very strange rules for a duel. And I believe he announced, you have the right to first strike. Starts in 10 minutes if you don't take it. And then proceeded to pace around outside. And that's where we join our crew for now. The 3 of you inside this home with a person full of intent on the stoop.
Bonk, is the door open? Like he's just like we're looking out at him?
I peeked through the curtains at the window. I did not open the door.
That's where the sight confirmation come from. The door is closed. As soon as you realize who it is, you know he is standing exactly 9 feet away from you on the other side of that wall.
Okay. Cass lets out like a long groan as he rolls over from his spot on the floor. And he dad groans up and he walks over to Rowena and he goes, Miss Smythe,
Mrs.
Mrs. Smith, excuse me. I'd like to remind you that this is my fight. I don't expect or really don't want you to help.
Well, that's fine, but if he does any property damage, I'm coming after him.
Should any danger come to you or your property, well, then I just don't give a damn what you do or how you react.
Hunted Jules is like glued to the window, and he kind of just like looks back. Cass, this I didn't notice it, but this guy looks kind of ripped. Like, are you gonna be able to take this guy?
Cass just like the biggest I don't know shrug.
Do you need anything? I've got shields, swords, hammers, axes. Is there anything arrowheads? Anything at all? Cutlery? I don't know what you're...
He just walks to the door and he says, I'll be back in a few minutes. And then opens the door and walks out onto the stoop. And hands in pockets, just kind of looks at Brutus and says, so the forfeit, still a no-go here, huh?
Not really part of the contract. So, yeah. We got to do this, and Full moon was last night, so we got to do this before 2 nights from now. I'm choosing now, but you get the right to first strike. Now that I've declared it, you have to take it in the next 10 minutes.
Okay. And Cass steps forward and starts to close the gap, hands still in his pockets, and just kind of looks at him and says, you know, it would mean a lot to me that nothing happened to the property of my allies. They're unrelated to this fight between you and I. And before you say anything, should anything happen to them or their property, I will not be afraid to make an appeal to the gods. Don't forget that this is a party of the gods.
I'll take it under consideration.
And then those old folks at Alpine's Peak will have a much bigger problem than this stupid fucking contract.
Noted. And he'll go ahead and take off his like big traveling jacket again, and he's just got the leather like mantle that kind of has these like buckler shields that he takes off from his side. He's got that very clean cut 6-pack, very muscular torso, super big arms. He might have been skipping leg day for a while though. And on the back, he's got these contraption with chains wrapping out and attaching to his shields. And he'll just go ahead and take his shields out and stretch out his arms and kind of just T-pose in front of you, waiting for your strike.
I headbutt him.
You're just gonna straight up headbutt him?
Yeah, just unarmed strike. That's how I'm gonna get this thing started.
Ooh.
Hells yeah. Go ahead and roll to hit. You have advantage.
15.
15.
Imagine missing a headbutt.
Right.
If I do miss, I'm gonna miss, but then also put my head onto his shoulder and hug him right away.
He's
nice.
not actively using his shield, so you will hit.
Excellent. That headbutt is for 3, and then like after I headbutt him, I will sort of use his massive stature to push myself off and draw my sword.
Yeah,
but
your sword
all the
is
while-
at the ready.
all the while, the ultimate point here is that I would like to use my bonus action to, when I headbutt him, to cast Hunter's Mark to him.
Sure thing. And you'll get that hunter's mark off. You will get that headbutt off, and then we will roll.
Oh, wait, we didn't take a long rest though, huh?
No.
Nope.
Okay, well then I don't have Hunter's Mark.
Oh,
There it is.
boy.
Yeah, okay. So I just headbutt him and push off of him, and as I push off of him, you can see that like the magic is trying to do something out of my hands, but it just kind of it's basically the equivalent of a joke gun shooting out a small flag that says bang. And I push off and I'm like, oh shit. And that's when I draw my sword. Yeah.
Sure. Do you want to be 5 feet away or 10 feet away?
5.
Great. Just keeping track. And we are going to have everyone roll initiative.
Everyone?
Katie, get in here as well.
Oh.
Oh, that's really funny.
Oh, that's not great.
No, he rolled a 1 for initiative.
Yeah, I was to say he either rolled very high or very low.
Cool. I
He was
rolled
just-
a 5, so welcome to the party.
Hey, me too.
I rolled an 8.
Oh,
Golly, you guys. I got a 13. I guess we're going in ascending order
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
We all had
I'm
the
okay
fake
with it.
bang guns.
Rena's already got like 6 weapons piled by the front door just in case.
Yeah, certainly. So we have Rowena at the top, who you can see this headbutt go off, the exchanging of words. I think you're watching from the window at this point?
Yes.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if there's nothing you would like to do, give me a perception check.
Yeah, I was to say, I think all I'm doing is I'm posted at the door. I've got my sword and shield, and I'm just watching out the window and keeping an eye on the children in my house. That is... What is my perception for this character? Oh god, who am I playing tonight? That is an 18.
18. You can clearly see just beyond kind of this rabble that has started, the headbutt, kind of the spin back, the draw, the sword, this grimace that Brutus now has with just a little bit of like blood at the corner of his mouth. Just beyond them, you can see a silhouetted, not a silhouette figure. This would be like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see a dwarf on the back of a donkey coming down the road.
Oh, yeah, cool. If I see that, then I would like to throw the big bolt on the door that locks it, and I'm gonna run out the back door to come around from the back of the house. Like go around the back of the house, around the back
secure
of the
front,
forge.
go out the back,
Yes.
and then
Secure the front, go out the back, go loop around the back of the forge so that I'm coming from the side so that I can get eyes on whoever's approaching and the fight without them necessarily seeing me coming.
Sure thing. And yeah, you can go ahead and lock that up, make your way through the house, and you're kind of on the back side of the forge as you are coming around. Jules, you just saw the door to the house you are in get locked before you, and Rowena quickly escape out the back.
Rowena, do you have any of that exploding corn? I hear that's a new thing.
We can have snacks later. I've got to go check on something.
But check on what?
Make sure that Dusty doesn't get in trouble, all right?
Okay, yeah, okay. And I'm gonna go up to the loft, but not before swinging by the kitchen to see if they have any like microwave popcorn.
You will find in the kitchen it has been completely trashed. Like, all the pottery is broken. There is flour and sugar everywhere. It looks like somebody just like destroyed everything in the kitchen.
Oh well, I guess we'll clean that up later. Okay, I'm gonna go check on Dusty, and I'm gonna go run up and check on Dusty and make sure that Dusty is still there. But I also want to make sure there's a window in whatever place he is in.
There is a window in the loft. Yes.
Love that.
Yes, there is a window, as well as he is dead asleep. He's actually alive, breathing. But has a thick snore going on and is quite soundly asleep. I'm getting lots of fun things as I think Nestor here blipped out a little bit. But we are coming up to not his turn, so everything's fine. Hey, Kate.
Yes.
You're on the back of a donkey.
Oh,
Yeah.
how exciting.
Yeah. Describe what we see atop this donkey.
You don't see much of anything at all. What you see is sort of what looks like a bedraggled pile of like leather armor and rags and like maybe like just like a little bit of like red hair just like sticking out of the one of the, like a hole in the rags, and there's like, I'm not saying there's like stink lines, but like if there were cartoon stink lines visible, you would be able to see them coming off of whatever nonsense. And as Alanna Pritchel rides into Bethlehem on the back of a donkey, she pulls off her hood, and you see this sort of like if a brick shithouse had gained sentience, and taken up blacksmithing. This is what you see. So you see this dwarven woman, Alanna, red hair, but like not curly, just out. She doesn't care, right? And she's got like a Chewbacca thing on, but it's got like little hammers in it. It's a lot. There's a lot going on.
I love it. And as you approach, there's a strange scene in front of you. As described, this farmstead matches the description. You can kind of see a converted barn forge space, and you're like, oh, that's a nice flue. Like, you can get that real hot. There's some horses resting in the stable, and you approach, and there is this, like, other brick house in front of you, except this brick house is covered in like chains, leather, has 2 shields, and has clearly defined muscles on the back of his head down to his waist before his leather pants cover up everything. And he seems to be dueling with Caecilian. Did you get your cloak back?
From
Dusty.
Yeah, I think Dusty had it while traveling. I'm not sure if you would have taken it back before.
I took it back. I took it back actually after he was cured. I think because I only put it on him on the way there, and then I got it back from him. I think when we were there. I want to say I remember this, but it's like
I think you laid it out to sleep on.
Yeah,
I feel like I remember that.
That sounds right. So yeah, you would see this somewhat of a charming man now, holding a sword, poised for combat in this beautiful green cloak that is far better than anything else he is wearing. Yeah, one looks perfect and pristine, and the other looks like it has hundreds of miles of wear on almost everything on his person. But yeah, how would you like to approach this strange encampment?
I would like to. Can I roll an animal handling check to see if I can just like literally like not even acknowledge it? Like just I don't see it. It's not my problem. I do not care. I'm been trying for days to find a decent smith in this town. Whatever the fuck these guys are, I don't, it's fine. It's locals being locals. I just want to get to the forge.
This sounds good. Yeah, get me that handle animal.
All right. Here we go. That is a natural 1.
Nice.
Yes.
Scripted.
Yeah,
scripted.
Donkey dies.
Turn it around, and you're like, no, this is a guild donkey. They know what to do.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things of like, they're like trying to get it to go through this gate that is just closed at the moment, and the donkey kind of just like looks over, and then just sits right in front of the gate, and you just kind of slide off the back of this donkey.
All right. From I want to be very clear, like a spread-legged, like very comical position,
like plopping down, like
plopping down, just like slid
a long day,
like, straight off the back, like one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Alanna just does one of these, and she's like, all right. No. Bad donkey. I'm glad that I went with the Scottish accent and immediately started talking about a donkey. That's exciting. I like that for us.
I didn't know about that choice, so this is fun.
I didn't either until
apparently
right now.
Every smith in this world has to be Scottish. It's canon now, Mark.
Some sort of variation. It's like they teach it to you in smithing school that lends you not actually what she sounds like. She's just an affectation that makes her sound old-timeier. And I think I'm just gonna try and like sidestep around the donkey, keep my head down, and just head to the forge and see if I notice anybody around who can at least direct me to the smith.
Sounds good. Yeah, you get off this donkey, you dust yourself off, and you're able to get kind of over that gate, and you're about 5-10 feet closer towards the forge there. And that will bring us up to Cass.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot happened in the time that it took me to headbutt a dude. So this is fantastic. Okay.
Dwarf on a donkey showed up, plopped right in front of a gate. So you heard some murmuring, and this dwarf
like,
has hopped the fence and is headed towards the forge. And this is about right behind Brutus. This was not something you saw before, but kind of as the adrenaline of combat, your awareness of your surroundings soaks in, you'd see a strange sight behind your foe.
I think Cass goes from like a combat ready stance, and his arms sort of like slink to his side, and he kind of tilts his head to look past Brutus. Can I help you?
Yeah, I don't want any trouble. All right, I'm looking for the smith. They said up in town that there might be somebody this way who might be able to help me. You look quite busy though.
Okay, hold on. And he puts one hand up and he kind of turns to the door and he makes a point of turning towards Brutus and just kind of going, just 1 second. HJ?
And you hear a window open from the loft. Yeah.
And yeah, God, I was gonna say cat person. That's not the name of your race.
Tabaxi.
A tabaxi pops his head out, all bright-eyed, and greets you from the second floor of this loft.
Hello?
She's looking for Rowena. Maybe she's got work for her.
Oh yeah. Just go around to the back of the house. I think she's over there. I'll go meet you.
All right.
And then Cass looks at her and goes, "The cat boy will take care of you." And then he lunges forward into Brutus with the sword.
Go ahead and roll for an attack.
22.
22 is going to hit. 23 will also hit.
Okay.
You only got the one attack, but math.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I did 3 damage.
Sick. That's 3 more damage. You stab as good as you headbutt.
Boom.
There it is. And yeah, it kind of deflects off the shield a bit, but you can tell you definitely surprised him with that one after the amount of yammering. And he is going to go ahead and try and shove you back. That's going to be a 13 to hit you.
It's a tie.
So your AC is 13?
Yeah.
So that's a hit.
Yeah. I said what I said. It's a tie.
Yeah. Cool. That is going to be 5 points of damage, and you're going to get shoved 5 feet back. So you are now 10 feet away, and that was with his right hand. He kind of got under one of his shields, and he kind of pushed you back a little bit off the ground, a little skid back, and then he just smirks, and from underneath his arm, that's kind of like in a nice V shape, blocking him with his buckler in a defensive position, very quickly, he just throws his other shield down into the ground, into the gap you used to be, and then does a bounce shot off the ground where you once stood, and gets advantage on a trick shot. And that's garbage. That's a 12 to hit.
It misses.
And it goes sailing past you, and then like a foot behind you, you can hear just a click, and then all of a sudden a chain just whirls it back to him, and he's there in a defensive position with both of his shields ready.
Given that it was such a near miss, I think that Cass looks at him and he goes, "Now that's impressive."
Oh, just you wait. Feels a lot worse. And that brings us up to Rowena, who is rounding your corner. And you heard some chatter from up above. It sounds like Jules yelled out your position. You didn't hear the other half of the conversation as a building was in the way. Yeah, the tabaxi up 15 feet could easily be heard.
I definitely heard him call my position. Just like to no one in particular because I'm by myself. Just so I will hustle my way around the back and the side of the forge to get to the front so I can get eyes on everybody who's out in front.
Sure thing. As you do, you kind of come rounding that last corner, and there in front of you, you guys kind of lock eyes on each other as you're now face to face, Rowena, with Alanna.
I round up. I've got my shield fully strapped up and my sword. I am in go mode, and I'll just kind of freeze up and just be like, "Afternoon, can I help you?"
And Alanna just has her hands just in her 2 big pockets, just really big cape pockets.
Nice.
And she just kind of she nods and she says, I heard up in town that there might be a smith nearby. I've got a couple of things that I need looking after, and I'm also looking for some supplies. I was wondering if maybe you could help me out. You look busy. Are you all right? Is there's I could come back another time.
No, you're over here. As long as you're just here for supplies. You're not like looking for anyone to fight or anything. Because the last guy who showed up at my door just started a fight in my front yard.
No, unless you want to wrestle over some steel in the back. But no, I'm just a friendly traveler. And she pulls out her hands from her pockets as though she meant to go like this, but she actually pulls out 2 hammers, and then she kind of looks at them and like chucks them up behind her and just kind of shrugs.
Rowena just kind of looks and just kind of like opens up her pose, like pulls her shield back, and you can see that she also has a smith's hammer like fully tucked into her belt, ready to grab. She's like, right, why don't you come around the back? We'll go in, I'll make some tea, and once the boys are done kicking the piss out of each other, I'll see if I can help you out, okay?
All right, I would slay a fate for a cup of tea right now. Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I think I've got some that didn't get shattered. Come on, let's go.
All right, thank you. Just... Like, Alanna, like, picks up her hammers sheepishly and, like, follows Rowena in.
Yeah, just heading back to the back door.
Jules, what would you like to do? I believe you were upstairs last we left you.
Yeah, I feel as Jules kind of hears the back door open, he looks down at Dusty. Okay, I'm just going to need you not to move, and I'm just going to tie his shoelaces together. Yep. Shoelaces tied together, just so we will hear him when he wakes up. And then I'm gonna kind of just like bounce down the stairs. I heard tea. Are we getting snacks now too?
Oh, good, it's your hearing, child. What's on the other side of the barn?
Pretty good.
Raising the dead and run across the plains.
And yes, your action can be spent booby trapping some shoes. You can move on down to the kitchen to greet them at the back door, and we will move on over to Cass, who is in combat and is going to stay that way. And I think I'm just going to skip the 3 of you since tea seems to be your priority now. Cass,
just fuck your initiative. We're drinking tea.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I'm only going to come out and get involved in the fight if I hear property damage being done. So far, they're just out in the dead part of the lawn. It's fine.
Yeah.
The entire property is dead lawn, other than the house, just to be clear.
Yes.
I think Cass at this point, after seeing the shield thing, well, okay. Here's a question for you, Mark.
Yeah.
Can I take a perception check, maybe? I don't know if there's maybe a better one, like survival or something. See if I can determine the like maximum range of this like chain shield thing, like a combat analysis roll of some sort.
Sure thing. Let's do survival. Feels like, quick measurements and combat math would fall under that.
A hard garbage roll. That was a 5.
Hard garbage roll? At least 10 feet. At least 12 feet. It went a little past you.
Okay, great. I think that this prompts Cassilian to take a few steps back. Like, I don't know, 30 feet.
Okay, so you'll be 40 feet away from him.
Yeah, my maximum movement would be fantastic. And I will pull out my longbow and fire off a shot. And I'm going to try and take the rest of this fight from some sort of...
Great. Go ahead and give me that roll.
God damn it. It's a 7.
A 7 is going to be easily deflected by one of his shields.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
and
as the lay of the land.
Yeah, as you retreat back, you're going away from the forge, and so you're kind of like in the like makeshift street that ties a lot of these like homesteads together. He'll come bounding up after you, so he gets within 10 feet, so he's 30 feet away from you as he throws his main shield at you. And let's see if that's gonna hit. That's gonna be a 19 to hit this time around, which I believe thinks home.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you numbers so that way you know the numbers. But yeah, this
It's like salt in the wound for me to have to confirm that a 19 slaps my 13 AC.
Says it like it doesn't have your character sheet pulled up right now.
Right. So
I have a lot of windows. Okay. But it is going to sail true, and it is coming at you fast, and it is going to hit you for 9 points of damage. As this shield just cracks you kind of in the gut, and it hits, and then you hear that click, and it starts coming back. And as it's coming back, you can actually see him charging up to meet it, and he gets within 10 feet of you again, and then just throws his shield and ricochets them off of each other and bounces his second shield, and is coming at you with that sweet advantage.
Okay,
Because
great.
he
So I'm
loves his trick shot.
fighting Captain America. Okay, good.
Double Captain America. It's fine. That will hit because apparently the numbers make you feel bad. And that one will be for 7 points of damage. As he's 10 feet in your face, and another click and another zip, and the chains come back, and he is now fully up armored again. In-house, what tea are we looking for?
There's only one kind of tea. Rowena doesn't know what kind it is. It's just the one kind that Arthur liked to drink, so it's the one kind she has. It is on a top shelf of the pantry in one of the only unshattered containers. Because it's up on the very top, she has to climb on a kitchen chair to get up to it. Because again, Rowena is only 5'4", and this is clearly a shelf meant for her 6'3" husband.
I like it. Yeah, you were. It is a chair, but it very clearly has like those two worn out places where your feet go up, where it's like up with the right, up with the left, right sits, and then down. So it's just every step is a little bit lighter on here, as you've done this thousands of times. And yeah, you get it down. It's a nice, strong black tea.
I will start mixing it up. I will also then, once like the water is put on, I will go rummaging around amongst the like disaster mess until I find a cob of corn and a paper bag, and I will put the corn in the paper bag and like roll it up and stick it in the oven and light the oven.
Yes, exploding corn.
Alanna sort of takes the opportunity to like assess whatever the hell has happened in here, and she sort of something very interesting happens at the table. She sort of like gathers up a couple of teacups that have sort of split down the middle, and she rummages around in her pack, and she sort of like dumps her backpack. Like there's a
Well,
She starts dancing is what she does.
yeah, she starts dancing. It's weird.
Wouldn't be the weirdest thing that's happened in the stream, to be fair.
Yo, what's up, Q Times? Welcome on in. Anyone who hasn't gone and followed Q Times, give them a follow. For everyone coming in, we are the Torpid Gaming Network. We are a variety channel, and on Tuesdays, we play Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing our original campaign, 11 Fates, with our special guest, Catieosaurus. So check us all out. And yeah, welcome in. Kate, if you want to like back up, maybe restart that thought if possible.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Great.
So Alanna sort of finds herself in this absolutely sort of destroyed kitchen, and she picks up her backpack, which is just it's like hammers and paper, and then hammers, and then like metal, and then more books. It's just like it's a shit show. And so she sort of picks it up, and she like shakes it out. She's looking for something. She finds this like little tiny, like little chasing hammer. And she takes these like two teacups, and she sort of puts them in front of her on the table, and she sort of rears back, and it looks like what is about to happen. She's going to smash the shit out of these teacups, but instead she casts the cantrip Mending on the two teacups, and they sort of like reform into two teacups as she sort of like unsmashes them. Like it's like a backwards move almost.
That's sick.
Into her hammer.
Cool.
And so she just sort of like quietly like she looks around. She doesn't want to like draw attention to the fact that she's done this, and so she just sort of like puts them like over on like a sideboard sort of situation, and she just sort of like sits back down at the table. And she's like, "Oh, you know, whenever you're ready with the tea, no rush. I'm just grateful to be here."
Yeah, the water should be boiled in just a few minutes. I'm gonna have to find it.
I think there might be two over on the side door.
Yeah. Where did you find these somewhere in the mess?
Oh yeah, they were just like on the floor. You know how things fall. It seems like you've got a lot of that going on around here, am I right?
Yeah, no, I know how things fall. I just was pretty sure I smashed this against the wall before I left. Well, tea should be ready in few seconds or something.
All right. Well, I've got you here. I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time, especially. But I was wondering, if do you find your own supplies here, or are you just? I'm just passing through, looking for a few things.
It's a bit complicated.
Right.
And it's at that moment where the camera just kind of slinks on back out to this tea party that's about to start with with corn a popping in the oven as we're back outside to a ranger with his bow and a brute with his shields and Cass. It's your action. You just got a 1-2 nasty combo to your sternum.
Brutus, no, obviously winded. Caecilian is like, so does it make you feel good to beat up a retired fighter?
Honestly, yeah.
And when does the forfeit come into play?
When you're unconscious.
Ah, yeah. It's good. It's good. And like in the laziest way possible, he pulls back an arrow and just lets it fly, knowing that like, oh, I'm gonna pass out soon and I can feel it coming. For an 18.
18 is close enough to hit.
Okay.
I was like, oh, it's either what you need or just shy.
I should be taking notes on this.
Fine.
I have rolled a 6 damage.
Dude, you've doubled the damage you've done on this man. And you know what? You look at him, that arrow kind of just like nicks his shoulder, and he looks so excited to be doing what he's doing right now as he I'm sorry, you have a bonus action and a move if you would like to do anything.
I will take all the movement I can and move back towards the front door of the house.
Awesome. Also remind me how many levels
Yes.
of exhaustion you have.
2.
Great.
Which...
Your speed's
my speed is halved. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Either way, he wanted to be 10 feet away from you for his sick bounce shot. So he's still 10 feet away from you. He just, what you felt like was 30 feet was in fact 25.
Yeah.
Last time around. But yeah, 15 feet closer to the house. Sure thing.
Yep.
And he's going to close the gap, and you can see your bow up, and he's kind of going to duck down below, and he's actually going to get in melee combat with you as he just goes for a rib gouge with just the edge of his shield from like the side. That is going to be a 14 to hit.
That hits.
That is going to be 1 point of damage, and I need a con save from you with disadvantage.
No. That's okay. Con save?
Con save disadvantage due to your level of exhaustion.
6.
Great. You are going to take another point of exhaustion. You are now at level 3 exhaustion as all of the wind leaves your lungs as just under your ribs you get the edge of this shield just jabbed up in there. And if you had a floating rib, it's a sinking rib somewhere in your body right now.
Good.
And then he's going to try and push you back.
Why wouldn't he?
That is going to hit, and he's going to try and send you stammering back with another 5 points of damage as the other shield just comes across and just slaps you upside the face.
Excellent. I am now dead.
You are now
Unconscious.
unconscious.
Yep.
Yes.
You get death saving throws.
Yes.
And it's with that, the music's going to settle a little bit whenever I find that window again, because again, I have too many windows.
Time. The GM.
Yeah,
curve.
this this immense pain gets the rib, and you just feel yourself becoming this question mark shape as suddenly a very fast approaching shield just takes the light out from you, knocking you
Can we
clear off
say
your
that
feet.
As
go
I'm
ahead.
falling off of my feet, I just like make sure to put up one middle finger as I'm falling down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just need to have the last word.
yeah, but
Cass needs to have the last word.
Yeah, but Bo goes a little sprawling as you kind of have that duel, like everything's slowing down a bit, everything's extra bright, extra loud, and like as you go to like maybe catch yourself, you're like, nah, double fingers. as once you hit the ground, everything goes dark for a bit. And then everyone's in the kitchen, so no one sees what Brutus does next. So a thing happens, and then there's a little slump knock on the door. Just like a faint like onto the door. As your kettle's about to boil.
Do you want me to go get it?
Yes, if it's the triangularly shaped one, he's not allowed through the front door.
Okay, noted. And HJ is gonna run up to the door, slam it open, and who's at the door?
You throw the door open, and a slumped Cass then just plops down into the doorway, as the door was the only thing holding his unconscious body up.
Oh, whoa, Cass, yeah. Is there anything else there? Is Brutus there?
There is a small bag of berries on top of him.
I want to just pull Cass in, kind of grab the berries, pull him down on the rug, close the door. Nope, it wasn't the triangle guy. We've got Cass. He's breathing. Might need to rest it off, but I think definitely still alive.
Well, good. I'd hate to think that McGinty over there forfeited his entire contract on the first round. He seemed so excited to spend the next year coming after Master Daedrove. Could you just drag him into the front room and put him in the corner?
Yeah, no problem. And HJ obliges.
And off to the corner he goes. You have a small bag of berries. They look bizarre. They're like blue and purple and green. They look like marbles, but they're clearly like soft and kind of blueberry shaped, but bigger, more like grape shaped.
Yep, and I'm gonna walk back in and kind of like looking at them. And can I tell like what they are? Have I seen these before?
Let me look at your character sheet real quick. Like,
there is nothing on there.
A whole bunch of skills. Yeah.
And none of them are any that would be able to tell what those are.
Give me a d20 roll.
An 11.
Just an 11. Awesome. You rolled high. That's what I picked. You know these to be good berries. One of these berries is essentially a full meal.
And I walk in. Hey, so the contract guy left Cass. Don't think Cass won. But he did leave these good berries, and I'm just gonna set them down on the table.
Yeah, there's 4 good berries there.
Right.
Is it always this exciting around these parts?
No. Not until recently is the thing.
Well, like I said, I hate to interrupt what is clearly some sort of party, but I was wondering if I might, take you out to the forge and ask you maybe a few questions.
Yeah, of course.
When you're not busy, because it seems like there's a lot. I don't want to interrupt.
No. If Master Daedrove is unconscious, then we're no longer busy.
All
So,
right.
Yeah. And
also,
he's on,
no.
so we'll just Rona's still talking, but we'll just start making tea. She will also pop open the oven and pull out the like partially popped corn, shake the bag around, and kind of toss the bag to HJ. Like,
I've heard about this.
It's not very good. It's better if it's drier, but that's all I've got that's not gone off in the meantime. Tea for everyone. But yes, we can step out to the forge and you can tell me what it is you're looking for. You're a smith yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just keep waiting for the camera to fade away, but it's not happening.
I can keep riffing.
Yeah, we run a different game here. See, we like you. We want you to talk, but with that note, you do kind of have that fast, giddy up type of space of you going out to the forge. You have all those small talk of supply and demand. You've got Jules, looking in on this cob that's like partially popped, but not really. It's just at like the very ends. And you're like, oh, well, which part do I eat? I've never seen corn like
Exploding
this.
corn before, huh?
Just heard the rumors, and yeah, it's about 4 or 5 minutes go by as kind of things happen. The forge gets lit up and start as kind of just the demonstration of equipment. The clear snoring of Dusty gets louder as the day goes on, and you've been out about 6 minutes there, Cass, and you kind of groan back awake, and you're inside, slumped up in a corner.
Should we do something about this one? He doesn't look well. You're right.
Am I like?
None of us are doing well.
You're conscious again. You hurt like the fucking Dickens. You're
I'm
like
just gonna
entire
toss
left
him a
side.
good berry. These help. Eat this.
I don't know what a good berry does. Actually, I probably do know what a good berry does. I can't remember. Like
it fills you
D8
for a
heals
day.
something?
Yeah, it sustains you for a day. It also gives you 1 hit point of healing. So we're gonna put you back up to 2 hit points now, there, Nestor.
Haven't you all got a healer around these parts? It seems like if there's this much trouble walking through your door, you might want someone who can heal. Not to tell you how to live your life, but
Well, I mean, there's a doctor in town, but that would involve going to town, which we're not planning to do, so...
right. Well... Oh boy.
Welcome to TGN!
We dance.
Yo, what's up, Geekly Inc? Welcome on in, homies. Welcome to the Torpid Gaming Network. If you guys haven't gone and followed Geekly Inc yet, go give them a follow. What are y'all doing? But for everybody here, welcome in. We are the Torpid Gaming Network. We are a variety channel streaming Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesdays. This is our original 5e campaign, 11 Fates, and we have a special guest, Catieosaurus.
Hi!
Bonk, you want to give the quick recap of what just happened for all of our new friends?
Yes, welcome. We are at the home of Rowena. She is a smith. We've been checking out the forge, walking around, having a little tea party. Also, one of our members just got done with the first part of a dueling contract. They had a rib real messed up. They took another point of exhaustion, bringing them up to 3 points of exhaustion. And then their combatant did some things off camera, slumped him up against a door, and returned him to his compatriots before disappearing and leaving a parting gift with some good berries. They're in kind of that recovery stage. Everyone's kind of sleepy except Alanna here, who just traveled in via a very surly donkey in search of a blacksmith. So you join us as the thought of a doctor crossed our mind, but we don't need to go into town for no doctor.
Can I roll like, I don't know, like a medical check or like an insight check to see how bad our friend Cass is doing here?
Sure thing.
What do you want me, like insight, medicine?
Let's do medicine if you have it.
Okay, cool.
Since you have it, you're a bard. You do bard
I'm
things.
pretty fancy.
Fancier than
That's
most of us.
13.
You come up to him and you can definitely see tons of bruising. He looks exhausted, like he hasn't slept in 2 days. Bed rest is going to help him the most right now. And also seeing how strong that guy was. This dude should be in much more mortal danger. But you have seen things like this. You've spent a lot of time at the City of Knowledge and have like commingled with a lot of other casters. You're pretty positive someone cast Spare the Dying on him.
Okay. Fuck it. I'm gonna be nice. Do you, friend? All right. And Alanna goes back over to her bag and she's gonna pull out like what is like it's like a forming hammer, but it's like too big. It's like too big. And she's gonna look at Cass, and she's going to be like, "All right, I know you don't know me. I like your cape, by the way. And you're just gonna have to trust me on this one." And she just fucking rears back and just fucking whips him across the head with it as hard as she can.
Roll that D8.
And she's gonna cast Cure Wounds. That's how Alanna casts Cure Wounds.
Yeah. I caught on that part, but man, it would have been great if he didn't know until after damage was rolled.
Rowena's just like, actually.
And she healed him for a thrilling 2, but it looked cool, so that's fun. All right.
You doubled his hit points.
There you go. I tried my best.
There it is.
I'm refreshing my D&D Beyond. These are bullshit rolls.
I love that the refresh button for D&D Beyond is like dice jail since they're all digital.
Like I was like, no, that's like a 1, a 2, and a 5. Like I'm done with this. All right,
killing it. You gain 2 hit points. There's definitely like that a little bit of a flinch moment, but also as it comes swinging through, it kind of just passes through you as it turns into like this light version of a hammer and then resolidifies as it like goes through you, and like your jaw and like upper chest feel a lot better, but yeah, you still feel terrible throughout the rest of your body. It was almost like some local anesthesia just went through like your head and shoulders.
Yeah, it's my lidocaine hammer. And so like Alanna kind of turns around sheepishly and she's like, "Sorry, I don't usually do that on the first date, but it seems appropriate." Anyway, so about that cuppa, and she sort of sits,
flails about and sits down in the local chair.
There's just so much. I cannot express how much is bullshit she's wearing. Like it's just she's got to like fight with the cape, and then she's got to fight with the hammers, and she's got to pick up the belt, and then like it's too much stuff.
Love it.
Rowena just kind of watches all of that, takes it in, and just goes, "Right, let me go get the tea and put some cookies in the oven." Goes in the kitchen, comes back like a minute later with the 2 teacups from the sideboard, and then probably like a very dented metal tankard that clearly also looks like it probably got thrown against something, but because it was metal, it didn't shatter. And I think the 4th thing is probably like the broken like bottom of one of the like canister, like canisters or whatever, as the teacups. She hands the nice functional teacups to Alanna and to Cass, hands the dented tankard to HJ, and then sits down with the like weird bottom of the like flower canister for herself.
Yeah, it's that strange little moment where you all kind of just sit around. You're all holding that nice warm cup of tea. Jewel, you probably have to like grab a cloth napkin that's thrown about the house just because the metal doesn't really
it's very
save
hot.
Your hands from the heat very well.
Totally.
But you all have that, you get your like nice one little sip in, and it's all kind of that sigh of relief as you feel like, okay, maybe we can wind down a little bit. Maybe the action's finally passed, and you just hear the loudest blood-curdling scream from upstairs of just get it off, and you can just see flailing upstairs just Dusty completely disrobing himself and throwing things down, and he like gets up and tries to run away and just falls and trips on himself. It's like, it's got me, and he like kicks his shoes off and has like flipped over the like bedroll that he was on and is now just in a full-on panic attack upstairs.
HJ kind of looks around. This might be my fault. I'm going to take care of this. I do have some questions to ask you, but I'm going to fix this. And HJ,
What did you do?
I just made sure he wasn't. We would know if he woke up, and it worked. 1 second, I'll be right back. And I'm going to scamper up the stairs.
Right, yeah, and you can see him catching his breath as he's like frantically checking his arm and like limbs for any marks, and he seems fine other than he's just in a cold sweat. He is just in his like boxers and one sock, and he is just looks up at you and he's like, I need to sleep, but I'd really like to go home.
Oh,
well, Good morning. Look, I'm sorry your shoes were tied up. I just needed to make sure you weren't going anywhere. But Dusty,
What? Yeah.
you did great. We're gonna get you home. Look, we got it out of you. It worked. You're cured. Look, I promise. You're just a little tired.
It felt real again. I didn't like it. I'm gonna try and get back to sleep.
Okay, you want me to go?
Like, he just grabs the bedroll from like that he tossed over and just rolls back on the floor and is now using like the bed mat as a blanket and just pretty quickly goes back to sleep.
Okay, and I walk, and I just want to like look him over to make sure nothing is like there really isn't anything there. He's not.
He is actually fine. He
Okay.
seems to have had a nightmare or night terror.
Gotcha. And yeah, now I feel bad for tying his shoes together. And I and I walk back down into the kitchen. Dusty's fine. He just had a nightmare or a night terror, but I don't think he's really good to have him out here too much longer. I think we probably should at some point bring him back home.
we can take everybody home once everyone's taken an actual nap. We have been awake for 24 hours. Cass just got his arse kicked. Dusty just recovered from fucking exhaustion, poison bullshit. You and I aren't looking great either, and the horses need time to recoup before we can go back to Aria. So, everyone's going to take a fucking nap. You're welcome to join us if you'd like, Nace. Or we can go out to the forge and talk while the boys sleep talk.
No,
either way.
actually, well, let me do that. I'm going to need something of a favor from you. I'm just going to be upfront about that. But it seems like you've all had a lot of stuff going on, and it seems like you're all exhausted. Why don't you just let me hold down the fort? Why don't you just let me? I'll brush down the horses for you. I'll throw some coal on the forge, warm it up for you, and you take a rest. I really don't mind. It's the least that I can do. I really don't mind.
Rowena kind of looks you over, and you can probably see in her eyes. It is that look you get from like bartenders or something where they're like trying to assess if you're genuine or not.
Yeah. Alanna sees this and she reaches into her bag and she pulls out just like the nicest fucking hammer you've ever seen in your entire life. It's like beautiful and it's carved and it's engraved and it's just like it's a sexy fucking hammer, right? Listen, it's fine. And she slides it over the table and she goes, "How about this? Why don't you watch this for me? Keep it safe. It's a little collateral. I promise I'm not going to run off with anything. I'm trying to do a bit of good before I inconvenience you even further. It really is the least I can do. On my hammers, just go take a fucking nap."
For a smith to trust another with their tool, it's good enough for me. You can keep your hammer, but I am going to take you up on the offer. Everyone to bed now!
Do you want to touch it, though? Do you want to touch it a little bit? It's a beautiful hat. You know you want to. Do you want to touch it a little bit? It's fine. I don't mind.
Rhoda hesitates, and then just... Yeah, and she's going to pick it up. And you see, she picks it up with her right hand and sort of, like, feels the heft. And you can tell she's got her hammer in her left as, like, a right-handed draw. But you also see that as she does it, she just very cleanly tosses it into her left hand and does a couple of like mock swings lefty with it. And it's just like,
Right?
good hammer.
Right? It's like really good, right? It's chef's kiss. It's fine.
I will take you up on this offer on the promise that you tell me a little more about where you find such fine tools once we wake up and we go raid the forge for whatever the supplies are that you're needing.
All right, it's a deal.
Great.
And also maybe in that same place is where you find a cactus that looks like a cabbage, as HJ is kind of like walking out of the room.
What are you on about?
He's looking for a cure of some sort.
All right.
As a point of order, Cass stands up from the corner that he was sitting in and walks over to the table and takes a sip of tea and then picks up the bag of the remaining good berries and ties it and shoves it into his coat and then or like into his bag and then walks back over the corner, takes off his cloak again, lays it out, and just thunk falls straight onto the floor. Yeah.
Brutus starts to be like, you can have the bed, and then just you hit the floor and like, never mind.
And you can all kind of get off to your own corners as you like to, settle in, and sleep does come swiftly. With it, you feel like the knowledge gained is a bit more applicable in life. You feel a bit better. And in this sleep, y'all kind of just have your own out-of-body experience. You can see a smug Brutus just eating handfuls of seeds on the back of a horse, just like riding off, spitting them out, just all sorts of smug. And you swear he almost like looks at your astral self and like gives you a wink as you then will fade back into a deep sleep. Rowena, you get that. You get this weird series of visions of Alanna. You can see some of her best work. You can just see her crafting all sorts of various things. You know she painstakingly found someone to build the most convoluted schematic for like a bandolier that fits hammers and pins. You can see her using those hammers and pins to make better hammers and pins. You see the craft that she brings to the table, and it is respectable. It is good. It is whole, and it's just really nice feeling as you fall deeper into sleep of there is a skilled craftsman near your forge again, and there is something very settling about that. And then we have Jewel, who goes off to sleep and can just sit up out of his body. And he like looks back and can actually see him just laying there on the floor or on the cot, wherever you ended up falling asleep here in this house. And there's a knock at the door, but it's not really at the door as you kind of peer out the window of this house and there's just starlight. You make your way over to the door and crack it on open, and it's a strange vision of yourself in this elegant, golden, oversized armor. He's a bit taller, he's a bit different, but he looks 90% like you.
Are you me?
You could say so, in a weird roundabout sort of way.
I mean, so, and I kind of like look back. Do I see myself lying there?
You can see yourself as a kid, like curled up, sleeping, like with your other like siblings and cousins, where your mom is like reading a story late one rainy night with just like a fire burning. And she's just going through, and you remember this story dozens of times of how your people came here. and it's one of your favorites to fall asleep to.
And then I kind of like lip sync back, and then they built the cities. And then I look back up, and then I finish shining with gold, and I see the armor, and I have this sudden realization: you're one of the ones that came over.
Yeah. I haven't gotten the chance to see it through yet. You mind if I tag along?
Oh, I'd be honored. I'd love to show you the world. I've traveled from one side of the continent to the other. I'm a chosen champion of one of the gods.
Gods?
Yeah.
And that's when like the camera fades out and you both just start like it's you look like you're getting farther apart because the background and the foreground are zooming past and expanding, but it feels like you're still face to face. The gods? And then that just reverberates and echoes again and again on itself, and then you stop, freeze frame, zooming into each other as you then just kind of black out from the impact and startle yourself awake like 10 hours later. It's close to midnight. There's a nice like warm fire going on. Things have been tidied up a bit. Alanna is there around and kind of sees you popped up, and all of the cups have been popped back into shape, and a lot of things have been scooped back into jars as kind of this, I think, need to tidy may have overtook you while everyone was asleep.
And HJ kind of just like pops up, and he exclaims loudly, just, are the gods not good enough?
And that's when everyone wakes up, because Jules is yelling about the gods. It's about 10 to midnight. House is much tidier than what it used to be. It's nice and warm, though.
Rowena wanders into the kitchen to check on what she stuck in the oven before she went to sleep, which is obviously my special cookies.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And probably just like freezes in the doorway when she sees that so much of the stuff is fixed now. And just kind of like stands there and stares for a minute, and without a single word, just turns around and walks out the back door.
You all awoke from some strange dreams. Almost an out-of-body experience, but it's what you can remember from the sleep that was very needed. You can all take a long rest, as on your D&D character sheets, and get your spells back, get those abilities, get some hit points for those that need it, as well as go up one level of exhaustion. And as you awoke, there was kind of the stir of getting things ready. You had Jewel shout out of if the gods aren't enough, I believe is what it was. And then with a quick look around of some tidying and like a weird little shrug from Alanna, you marched your way into the backyard there, Rowena. Yeah, I think the camera's gonna follow you out of the house for a little bit, leaving everyone kind of behind as you kind of whirl out into this very quickened pace that you have.
Yeah, Rowena just goes out the back door, doesn't bother closing it behind her, and about 120 feet directly off the back of the forge, there's what's hard to tell what it is from the house, but as you get closer and approach it, it's this, shape on the ground. There's a pile of what looks like pieces of unfinished metal and like blanks that could have been turned into swords or shoes at some point, but have never been formed, that have sort of been shaped to cover this area. And then surrounding it, almost creating a fence, is more of these sword blanks that have just been hammered into the ground. Except for the one that's right at the top of it that is a sword. It's very similar to the one that Rowena carries, but it's clearly sized for someone much taller. And she just sits down kind of at the foot of this, just cross-legged, and just sits and sort of starts fidgeting with the ring on her left hand and just kind of stares at it.
And yeah, it's when the three of you can kind of all peek your head in and can kind of, or peek your head out. So through the kitchen from various poses, you can kind of see her figure just sit down in the moonlight. It is a full moon. The clouds have parted. It is very easy to see out. And the three of you are in the house as a young Dusty also stirs. She's like, I heard yelling. Are we okay?
Who's this?
Oh, that's Dusty. He's the reason why we're all here. He was sick, and then the god of the grave kind of helped fix him, and then we fixed him, and then he woke up. You were here for that, but yeah, Dusty, we're gonna get him home. Don't worry about him. Dusty, good morning.
Is it morning? Are we just up really early? It's dark out.
It's morning somewhere. We all rested. But yeah, Dusty, this is I don't think I got your name yet. How rude of me.
Sorry. Alanna. My name is Alanna. Nice to meet you all.
Oh, I'm
sorry for the intrusion, but it seems like there's a lot going on with you lot.
Yeah, it's just like, trouble seems to follow people who get picked by gods, as I'm learning. But my name's Hunted Jewel. Nice to meet you. We're on our way back to a town called Aria. But yeah, no, that's the story. Hey, you ever seen a cactus that looks like a cabbage?
Cactus that looks like a cabbage. No, I cannot say that I have. I'm sorry.
What about a place that has like tall rocks, plateaus, like big cactus things? Is any of that ringing a bell?
Can I roll a knowledge check?
Yeah, go ahead and give me nature. I mean, he's talking about natural
that's kind of
croppings and things of that.
That's a 17.
17. I mean, there's a lot of crags here and there, but those are more like big pointy rocks. Those kind of surround Griffin's Roost. Some areas farther up north. You've heard of a volcano surrounded by a bunch of spiky, craggy rocks. Big flat rocks. You think down in the southwest, over by wait for it. I have names of cities that I was totally prepared to drop. Totally ready for all of this. It's good to be prepared, but it's better to know how to use it. Fallen Scale. It sounds like some of the rocks beyond Fallen Scale.
Right.
They've got some crags and plateau type areas.
Alanna goes back over to her like random pile of bullshit that she's kind of like trying to like neatly stack on the table, and she starts digging through books, and she throws papers, and she's like, she just cleaned it and she's just making it worse, and it's fine. And she sort of like, she finds like a big thing and she opens it. She goes, maybe something like, it's a bit inspecific that, but I've heard something about like Fallen Scale, maybe? I'm not quite sure. Maybe.
Have I heard of Fallen Scale?
You know it is one of the major cities. You haven't been there, but yeah.
Oh, you've seen the plateaus
no,
by Fallen Scale.
I don't get out much. But I've read about a lot of places that I've always wanted to see. But I remember there's a picture, I think. Can I like show him like a geography sketch?
Yeah,
a map,
actually,
a
yeah.
map is what one might refer to that as.
Forever geography sketches.
Geography sketch now.
Geography sketches. Yeah, you recall in your own adventurer's kit, and that like makes you like straighten up your like little badges and pins that you have on your myriad of other knickknacks on your chest, and you kind of rummage through and you pull out the big satchel of adventurer's papers that you have, and you do find a map of the continent and are able to kind of like point out some of these like big plateaus like southeast of Fallen Sand, like right at the edge of your map. And then there's also some off to the far west beyond like this giant crater that's just northwest of it. So yeah, you're able to kind of point that out to him.
Wow.
That's about as useful as I can be, but I guess I'll keep my eye out.
Oh, got it. That's so far. Look, sorry, I'm trying to find a cure. My hunt
for what?
Oh, that's just it. We don't know. My hunt elder's just befallen with sick. It's a magical illness. He's so weak. I was sent out to go find a cure. One of 11.
I definitely have notes that might be useful. Hold on.
It's like I was trying to think of what I gave you, and
I know. I was like, I'm trying to think if I have anything that I. The only thing I can think of is about my local myth, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know. Sorry, metagame. All right. Alana's just gonna sort of. I think she's just gonna sort of shrug, and she goes, "I'm sorry. I'm more of a crafty, not a healy. But I'll keep my ears out, and I can keep reading. I haven't worked my way through a lot of these yet, so."
Not a problem. Fallen Scale is more than enough. That's more than I had before. At least I have a destination now.
Is she all right? Sort of like a lot of like points out the door.
Yeah, kitchen door is still wide open.
I mean, we've been through a bunch. I mean, we might want to go check on her. She's always been all right before. She's really strong.
All right. Can I go out to where she's sitting?
Certainly.
Yeah.
You can be the first one out. Does anyone want to follow?
Yeah, I will follow tentatively and curiously.
And
I will remain in my corner.
Yeah, that leaves just Cass and Dusty kind of just there. And as he like starts picking up like the cups of, 8-hour-old tea and sipping on them.
Cass or Dusty?
Dusty. No, you're just watching this kid like poke around at stuff and is just consuming everything he sees right now.
I think I'm definitely sitting like writing down in a journal, actually, in the corner is what I'm doing.
Got it. So what now?
I think Alana's gonna sort of ruffle through her pile of papers and she's gonna pick up some stuff and she's gonna head out to go talk to Rowena. And I think Alanna kind of like walks out the door and she sizes up the situation immediately, and so she sort of like looks at Jewel, and she kind of looks at Rowena, and she kind of like she doesn't want to, but she's got to go. And so she kind of comes over and she kneels down next to Rowena, and she says, "How long has it been?"
Oh, sorry, I am.
Oh, it's all right. It's new, isn't it?
It's less than a year.
Yeah,
it's pretty sudden. There's nothing could be done about it.
It's been 5 for me. I don't know, one Smythe to another. It never gets easier, I don't think, but sometimes the hurt stops for a little bit at a time. That's something, at least. I hate it, hard. Still hard. But what do you do when your fire gets cold? You put more coal in and you find a way to keep going, don't you? And she sort of like slaps her on the back, but like too hard, like awkwardly and too hard. And she's like, well, actually, I might have something to take your mind off it for a wee bit at least. You interested?
I'll take anything you've got at this point. I I had a good distraction for a while, but it's sort of, kindled itself out, as it were.
Do you wouldn't happen to have any ore lying about, would you?
Possibly. That was more Arthur's domain, but I know where he kept his stuff. I didn't always use it. We could go look in the forge. It's about the only thing I didn't wreck when I was leaving. It seemed sort of profane. Touch it.
I respect that. I'm sure he did too. Well, here's the thing. And Alanna like offers her a hand to like get up. She's like, I don't usually just sort of drop this on strangers, but I don't know. There's something about you, my friend. I'm trying to find some ore because I found something, a way of doing things that I'm not quite sure what happens, really. And she sort of deep pockets again, and she pulls out this like super like shiny, lightweight piece of metal that's like sort of like, it looks like half of a pauldron that's just kind of like cracked, like it looks like somebody like smashed it and broke it off. And she pulls it out and she hands it to Rowena and she says, have you ever seen anything like that before?
It gets dropped into your hand and it feels much lighter than what you were expecting. You've seen some metals that can get this thin and kind of have these proportions, but they're usually denser than this.
I can't say I have. It's certainly a fine piece of work if it's as strong as it looks, but this light, that's that'll put the rest of us out of business.
Alanna just fucking grins, like the first time you've really seen her smile this whole night. And she goes, do you want to test it?
What are you thinking?
And she sort of like head nods over. I'm like you have like a cool roll of hammers there, blacksmith? Got a cool...
I mean, I think we at some point earlier on probably walked through the forge, and yeah, there's just like racks of like crazy tools up in the forge. We can like Rhoda will get up and kind of like head towards there as we're like talking about this.
Yeah. So Alanna definitely doesn't pull up notes. So hang on for a second. And so like as they're sort of like futzing around with this sort of piece of metal that's clearly just sort of like a piece of something larger, Alanna says, I'm sure you noticed, but I've got a bit of magic in me, and there's something about me, and there's something about the metal, and we work together. And I've found something, and she sheafs through the stack of papers, and she says, "There's a way of doing this that is different than anything anybody's ever done before." You know that scene in A Knight's Tale? I feel like we're just doing that scene in A Knight's Tale. I'm
good.
Okay with it. I'm okay. I'm so okay with it. But I just realized
was based off of that character, so we're fine. Yeah, like, not even subtly.
I was like, yes, I've invented this super cool thing.
Nope.
But anyway, so she says, but the thing is that I don't know what happens after this. I think there's a third step. I think there's something else that could change this and make it more or better or stronger or something.
It's at this point in your excitement that kind of Dusty kind of comes in behind Jewel, because I assume you would follow them when they went to their other location. And he's like, what's going on? And you can hear just this high tone start from both the metal that you have as well as Dusty's belt buckle.
I still have the pitchfork, I think.
That pitchfork the
tuning fork, not pitchfork, tuning fork.
It's a very tiny blunt pitchfork. It's different. But yeah, your tuning fork also has that like high end note now that Dusty's come on in.
Well.
All right. Mr. Broven said the belt's some sort of volcanic rock or something like that.
Aye.
Dusty, I need your belt.
What? No, it keeps my pants up.
Well, learn to wear suspenders. There's some in the upstairs dresser.
And like, yeah, he takes his belt off and like hands it over to you, and he like clearly has oversized pants that he thinks he's gonna grow into. And he's like,
that he's
I
trying.
love Dusty.
Yeah,
Dusty for president.
I'll go get that. Yeah, my parents have a bunch of that stuff. If you're interested, they make knickknacks from it every once in a while. Yeah, I'll go get suspenders, whatever those are. And
Wait,
heads
no,
off into the house.
you come back.
Wait.
You said you have more of this.
Yeah, my family, we trade in just odd oddities, and we got that. Oh God, a couple years ago. Travelers just got a whole mess of it. What 120 pounds?
Alana, like, visibly, like, fuck, she's
Heavy breathing.
heavy breathing. And she goes, all right, young one, I we'll talk more about this later. But Rowena, do you fancy a science lesson?
Oh, I'm always down for a little bit of science.
HJ holds out the tuning fork that is also vibrating at the same pitch. Look, this is from the Brovens too. Here's a little bit more. And he just like holds it out if anyone will take it.
Yeah, and pitchfork, completely normal pitchfork. It's made out of metal. It is tuned very nicely to like a specific note. Not really a practical note as far as music goes, but it is tuned to a specific frequency. And yeah, it's intriguing. This belt buckle is the first iteration of what you know of the refining process there, Alanna, and your sliver of what was left that you didn't have to sell on your way out of town is the second step. And yeah, if you want to get excited and spiel into it, I'm also happy to hand wave this explanation if you'd like to dive on into maybe a 3-minute TED Talk.
Oh, sure. All right. accent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Alanna, and I need you to pick, that one scene in It's Always Sunny where he's got like the yarn and the paper and the thing. That is what is the like Alanna has turned an entire wall of the forge into this. There's string. I don't know where the string came from. There's just maps and books and shit. And she's holding like 3 books at the same time. And like we enter like in media res, and she's like, and right. So what you do is you have to refine it. But if you refine it more than once, that's where it gets interesting. Look here. And she points to a book, but she's got her big, beefy dwarf lady hands, and she fucking just punches like half of this book just off. And she's like, fuck. And she like picks it up, and she's like, when you refine it once, right? You know what happens, right? It turns into like a magnet. It sings. The metal sings, right?
Right, that's where you get the tuning fork from.
Yes, right. But have you ever done it a second time?
No, why would you ever refine it a second time?
That's what I thought too. But then I started, and here's what happens. You can stretch the metal. You can roll it out. You can make it twice as thin and twice as strong with little to no effort. Do you realize the implications of this? We are talking military. We're talking science. We're talking, to a certain extent, fashion, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. There are so many practical applications. And she's just like, the more that she talks, the more these books are just being shredded.
Yeah, it's like 5-10 minutes, and it's at this point like Cass has been like, where the fuck did everyone go? And you probably
no, like, I walked in. I'm like,
yeah.
And so like as you like are, and if you look like really closely at these books, you realize that like the books are just all taped together because you realize this is like a very frequent occurrence. She just keeps like accidentally breaking her very delicate antique books. And so she's like, all right, so how Rowena, you know, how do you refine ore the first time? What do you do with it at the end? It's all hot, and what do you do?
I mean, you plunge it into the water,
Right,
right?
exactly. You quench it, right? You quench it with water. But there are other elements, Rowena. There are other elements in this world that are just as powerful and just as exciting. So what you do? The earth, Rowena, the earth is the second step. You take it, you bury it, you refine it there, and that's what makes it strong. And I think that there's a third step. And I don't know what happens because my work got interrupted in a quite unfortunate sort of way. But I think there's another thing that needs to happen. And so I'm looking for ore, I'm looking for metal, because I think that if I can figure this out, we could change the world. And she sort of like triumphantly just like drops the book because there are no fantasy microphones in Dungeons and Dragons.
That you've discovered.
Only
Yeah,
if you
I
have
discovered that.
thaumaturgy.
I would like to roll a perception check for a microphone. No, I'm just kidding. And so she like sort of like breathlessly, like, is just very pleased with herself.
And Dusty like walks in with suspenders on backwards, so he's got like the cross in the front and the lines going down the back, and he's like, "These are nice."
Oh, right. Well, at least you figured out how to get them to the right height for yourself. Okay, we can work on that later. Not important. So you refine it once and you quench it with water, and it does what you normally expect. And then the second time you bury it in the earth, and now it's thinner and finer.
And all right, here's the thing. I'm like, there's a lot of notes, and maybe I said a step wrong, but it's fine. You know, I get confused.
It's at this point she like brings you over to the book so you can like read it out and the steps, and you can see like this big long experimentation chain of she's actually gone and tested every possible way of cooling the metal. So it's like with water again, and it's like it's always the same effect when you do it with water. And then after a certain amount of time, when you actually get them together, if you can go through various steps, if you cool it in the earth instead of water the first time around, the same thing happens. But then if you take one that's already been cooled in water and then bury it in the earth, and then when you dig it back out, it's this extra refined, thinner version of itself. And then when you take one that's already been cooled in the earth and dunk it into the water, that's when you're able to stretch it out and make it thinner and make it lighter. And it's this strange step to it. And she has successfully been able to create kind of this first step once before it seems like the research has ended, of she just made it and then let it sit there until it cooled naturally, and it still got to the first phase. So the theory here is if you do all three, water, earth, and air, for cooling of this volcanic rock, another stage will come out of it. She just hasn't gotten to do all three yet.
All right. Well, if you can figure out how this works, you're gonna be the wealthiest smith in the kingdom. This is something I've never seen anything like this before. The closest thing I've ever seen to this, well, it's not even anything I've seen, it's just theories I've heard of. I don't, this is, what is it that you think I can help you with? I mean, I don't know how you found me or who recommended me. I guess I'm flattered. But, you know, Arthur was the one who really knew what was going on. Everything I know was just what I picked up from him, and I don't have a lot of... I mean, I've got supplies. You can look through the ore bin and see if there's anything else, but we can take you to Arya and see if we can get some more of this rock holding up the belt buckle. We can try to get you some more of that, but I don't know what else I can do for you.
I'll tell you what. You give me the space, and you find me some ore. Maybe I can help around the forge a bit for a while. I'd be happy to teach you a few things. There's lady blacksmiths are few and far between in these parts, and I feel like we, game recognized game, as they say in Dungeons and Dragons. in my dwarven culture, as they say. So I know it's a strange request, and I know a stranger coming up nowhere on the back of a donkey is a really funny way to get messed up in all of this. But I really think that there's something to it, and I think that maybe a band of adventurers like yourself seem to be. They might want like a share of the profits.
Well, I'm happy to help. Yeah, how I can, and as far as I'm concerned, Forge is yours as long as you want it. I'm not using it anymore.
And so Alanna like reaches into yet another innumerable pocket, and she pulls out like just like the daintiest, cutest little hammer you've ever seen, and she goes, "Cheers."
Just kind of like looks and just kind of pulls her just like really standard like basic ass Smythe hammer out of her belt and just kind of like holds it up to like do the dink.
It goes, dink.
Yeah, that's great. Can I go home now?
Dear fires and fates. Yes, Dusty, we're going to take you home.
I mean, you want the rock, right? I mean, that's
yes, I
where
want the rock.
is.
I was.
Okay.
I remember how we were going to give everyone enough time to forget that they were going to string you up for poisoning a girl.
I firmly believe they'll never forget that.
Right. I just want to make sure you also don't forget that. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
And okay. Also, that box was empty when I picked it up. So. Yeah.
What box?
I when I met the girl,
the box that you
Yeah.
gave back an empty box.
No, I didn't give her the box. The Lloyd's place, they get a lot of, garbage and deliveries and stuff. So I went to go get a box to try and capture a thing. And she saw me going for the box and went to hand me the box, and something crawled out of it. So I never did it.
So-
I knew that I had the berry. I just got scared.
Planning to poison her.
I
But
was
you-
planning to get a box. I wasn't committed to anything.
There is, from behind you, Alanna swears loudly as she has smashed her hand with a hammer because she's just eavesdropping the fuck into this conversation, but like pretending like she's working, and you realize she's not even like hitting anything. She's just hit her hands. She's not even hitting the hammer onto anything, and she's just like listening, and she's like, sorry.
No, you're not the one who needs to be apologizing here. This is some new information.
I haven't really gotten a chance to share my side of the story. Now that no one's sick, I kind of thought I might be able to go home and talk about it. Everyone got really quiet.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more? And then maybe we can go and back you up, because trust me, right now, no one's going to believe you. You ran away.
I ran away because I didn't think anyone would believe me.
Well,
Self-fulfilling prophecy, they call
yeah.
that. Master Diadrove, how are you feeling?
Cass has like not taken his eyes off of Alanna, and is not really concerned with anything other than what he's just heard about this like mystery power stuff. And he comes to. He's like, "Sorry, what?"
Well, I wanted to make sure you were feeling better, and then I was going to ask you if you've ever heard about how a soul slink manifests. You're looking a little glazed. Are you all right?
Alanna, you can go ahead and roll an arcane when you hear Soul Slink.
Ooh.
I say, Cass looks up and he's like,
That's a 18, baby.
Nice.
I'm beat up.
No shit.
And Alanna, you're kind of racking your brain about Souls Link. I've heard about that, and you like flip through a book, and you're like local oddities, and you like find subsection Griffin's Roost, spirits this, spirits that, and you find Soul Slink, and you're like, oh yeah, those things are nasty. They bite you or sting you more so. It's actually really hard to tell if it's a mouth or a stinger. They poison you and or inject you with venom. It's again hard to tell. They're not really studied very much. Then you become an insomniac for 3 days, and at the end of the 3 days, you go through a cycle of immense pain that is literally killing you, and then rapid regeneration, and then back to awful pain. And this cycle usually lasts until a mercy killing takes place. They are nasty. They are terrible. No one really knows what attracts or draws them, but it's usually quiet places. Like these aren't something that you like find in cities. These are almost like a strange ambush predator. Then the running theory of it is concentrated grief and pain that was never expressed, that no one ever knew of, manifested, and it needs to express that pain somehow, and it does so through the venom.
I convey all of that word for word, but in a bad Scottish accent.
Okay, so a Soul Slink you have there, and it goes.
But at the sort of like close of like how they tend to originate, Alanna sort of gives like a little bit of a look at Rowena and just kind of like raises one eyebrow, which I can't do, but if I could, it'd be really useful right now.
Yeah.
Super high eyebrow.
Rowena has started doing that thing where she's like clearly still listening, but she's got like both hands on the edge of the table and she's kind of like staring down very intently at some of the papers.
So that's what I know. But what do you all plan to do about it?
At this point, we're gonna take the boy back to his parents. We're gonna get you some more of this ore. And I suppose from there we see which of the fates casts their stones for us next. Eh?
Seems as good a plan of any.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Maybe it'll take us over by Fallen Scale.
Isn't that in the opposite direction? As like Dusty like thinks to himself about the geography that he does know about.
We'll drop you off first.
If you keep talking, maybe we'll go to Fallen Scale first. But if you don't keep talking, well, if you have any, okay, let me back that up. If you have anything else to say that you haven't told us yet, you need to tell us now. Because if you don't do that, then I'm taking you to Fallen Scale.
Okay. Sometimes I dream that instead of legs, I have chicken feet. I do really like Mackenzie. I don't think she's ever gonna like me back, so I should probably just move on.
Correct.
Yep.
The God of the Grave spoke to you and says that I'm a chosen one, and I want to do something with that.
That's
So
not
I've
what
been
he
thinking
said.
about the church, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I just start over somewhere.
What are
Yeah.
you good at, Dusty? Aside from, expressing your interest in older girls in very inappropriate ways.
I thought I was pretty good at winging it, and it all blew in my face. So I'm trying to maybe come up with a plan a bit better. I think I'm a pretty good negotiator. I tend to the shop, once a week and get some pretty good deals.
Rowena's gonna scrabble around in the mess that is the forge and find like a piece of a charcoal pencil, tear off a piece of paper, probably from one of Alanna's schematics that's already a little bit wrecked, so she can find a corner that doesn't matter, and is just gonna scribble down a name and a location, hold it up and hand it to Dusty. This is the woman who gave me a job when I was a bit younger than you. You ever decide you want to strike out on your own, you can go look her up and see if she can put you to work washing dishes and throwing drunk men out of bars. It's a good place to start. Teaches you a lot of life skills.
Oh, how? I thought you were a smith.
I was after I met my husband. He didn't want me, working in a bar anymore. Seemed beneath us.
Oh,
And
you
honestly,
did,
I like it a lot better.
you're old, so you do more than one thing. Okay.
Yes. If my first child had lived, they'd be a little older than you.
Cool.
Right. So, why don't you go make sure you've packed up everything you need in the house?
Yeah. Do you mind if I grab another pair of suspenders? These things are really neat.
Please help yourself to as many as you want. Arthur's not going to be using them anymore.
Thanks, and like runs off back into the house. And I think it's at that point you can all kind of scoff and look around as you can saddle up the horses. It's like 12:30 at night, but you do all feel rested. Even you, Alanna, you took it nice and easy. I mean, I won't tell them that you did nap while everyone else was sleeping. So that's between us. They'll never know. But yeah, you can saddle up the horses, and I think Dusty was riding with Cass.
Yep.
Right.
Correct.
And yeah, set off back east towards Aria. And anything you want to grab from the homestead before departing there?
I have to think about what I didn't rack or already find.
Yeah, it's just one of those fade outs and then fade back up of now
Yeah.
everyone's kind of on horses about to leave kind of the stable. The donkey as well as the extra horses have been fed.
As everybody else is like gathering like supplies and stuff from the house, Lana is teaching Dusty how to make a bow and arrow out of suspenders and a stick.
I love it.
She's just like, all right, so what you want to do is she's just like overly explaining how to do this.
I think
Mhm,
that Cass is also sitting there being taught as well. Or so,
Who?
dang it!
So close, man.
I was so
What?
close to the end of the episode without doing it. I always say my name is Cass. HJ is there also learning about suspender bows.
I think Cass walks up to Rowena and says very quietly, "Not that I'm a fan of the gods, of the fates, but don't you think that if they wanted us discovering some new thing like this, that they would have just given it to us?"
For a man who doesn't have a lot of faith in the fates, you sure do put a lot of expectation on them telling us what we're supposed to be doing, don't you?
No, that's actually exactly the point.
Someday, I hope you'll tell me what it is that happened to you. Don't expect it. I don't need it. But whatever secrets you're carrying, I know how that life is. I'm willing to listen if you ever want a shoulder. But in the meantime, this is the hand we've been dealt. So,
And then Cass pulls out a good berry and eats one, and then walks away.
Down to 2 good berries left.
they only
They only
last
last
for
for
24
24
hours.
That's it.
They only retain their properties for 24 hours.
Oh, after
Right,
that, they're
right.
just berries. That's right.
Mm.
They're just berries, yeah. Their
Um,
potency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stop tasting sweet and get a little tart. You'll know when they're not not working.
No, Cass likes them the most when they're tart.
He intentionally waits until they're like 1 minute away from expiring and then eats them.
Wait for it. But yeah, it's at this point you can have your little moment. You can get things settled up. You help Dusty up on your horse. And is he riding front or behind you?
Front.
Front. So you can keep an eye on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially after what he just told us in the forge.
100%.
Like you can also just like you appreciate that he's in suspenders now because you're like, yep, I'm just gonna grab this if need be, just get him back into shape. And he seems to take to the saddle a bit more, and you can head your way off east again towards Aria. Alanna, you have not traveled to Aria. You haven't really traveled this way, and if you did travel this way, maybe you didn't even stop here. It seems to be interesting if they have, a bunch of this super rare rock that, your contacts in the City of Knowledge couldn't get you. So it's gonna be an interesting ride. And you head out probably close to 1 still nice bright moon. It's gotten about halfway through the sky. It's almost like a clear patch of sky has opened up around the area around Bestellin and the woods east of it, and you're small encampment off. It's quiet. It's calm. You can see the clouds just kind of drifting on by. You're about 2-3 hours into your trip, about a third of the way towards Aria. Maybe a little bit more than that. Getting close to the halfway mark as moon's setting, starting to peek from underneath the clouds now, and Dusty's the first to really spot it and goes, "That's a weird light." And as you're coming up to this road and just this patch of woods off to your left, you can all see this glow walking out of the forest of this 6-foot tall person made of stars. Just super compact, glowing, beautiful yellow, gold, and white light of just these gorgeous symmetrical proportions of just an exquisite humanoid outline, and kind of just steps out of the forest maybe 100 feet off to in front of you, and another 200 feet off to your left, as it kind of comes out to the forest and points over at your horse, Cass and Dusty, and kind of just does a finger beckon towards the woods. And Dusty kind of just grabs those reins and he's like, "This looks cool," and is trying to steer the horse that way.
Can I roll an investigation check to see if I recognize this guy?
Roll with advantage.
Do we all see this?
You all see this after Dusty's pointed it out.
Sword and shield up and ready.
Great. Yeah, if you'd like to figure out what this is, Rowena, you can also roll with advantage.
Yeah,
just intelligence.
Can I also see if I think that
you can roll flat? Yeah, if you're interested in what this thing may be. No advantage for you. Yeah, you're welcome.
And sorry, which skill
I'm
did
not
you
gonna
want?
roll.
For you, it would be. Let me just look at your sheet real quick. I think just an intelligence. Do you have investigation?
I do not.
You do not. So yeah. I let's just go with a raw intelligence.
Okay, that's fine. That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah,
17.
I rolled a whole ass 8.
I'm not rolling because I'm fighting Dusty for the reins.
Good call.
Valid.
You're like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Classic
Go ahead and give
Dusty.
me an animal handling check then. It's It's contested with Dusty, who knows so much about animals.
4.
So good with
Dusty
animals.
wins with a 7.
Oh my god!
Let's
I'm
go.
the only one who
You-
made double digits on that with my 17. Fuck.
Dude, I haven't rolled double digits all. Oh no, that's not true. In the fight, I rolled double
No,
digits
you rolled,
2 or 3
I was
times.
gonna say you had a
Yeah.
good couple of good rolls in the fight.
Couple of good rolls, some low damage. But yeah, the horse does start to kind of go off the road and is making that beeline towards this illuminated figure. And the tip of the tongue, Alanna, you're just like, this is the and you can immediately, you're like, yeah, that's it. When Rowena goes, just immediately under her breath is like, "Was it
Purple.
real?" Yup. So yeah, Alondra, Rowena, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
You know about this local myth and legend. This has to be the Starfall based on every description you've ever heard.
Yeah. No, this is bad. This is very bad. And I see the Cass and Dusty fighting for the horse. And I am gonna wheel Farrier and try to go cut off for an intercept to try to block them from going anywhere.
Sure thing.
I'm gonna probably shout at the party and just be like, "Don't let that child get near that thing," and like ride for the intercept.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me an animal handling.
Do I get
The distance
advantage
you can
because
eat.
it's my horse?
Yes.
In the distance, you hear Cass going, "Brutus! Brutus, stop this!" My horse's name is Brutus.
So good.
Yep. You met Brutus. You named it Brutus, and then then you got to do the
Brutus
contract.
fucked me up.
I love the
The funny answer
confusion
was the
this is going
horse.
to call. So
Yeah.
good. That is a 21 animal handling.
Yeah, you are easily able to head them off, and Dusty's like, "Oh, well, I'll get back on the road. That's fine. Let's just." Doesn't that look cool? Don't you guys want to go look at it? Aren't you adventurers? Isn't that what we do now? We adventure.
Part of adventuring is having the common sense not to go riding after the first thing you see.
Okay, so what do we do now? As you can actually see it just float up about 6 feet off the ground.
Get back on the road and keep riding.
Sometimes, young lad, it's better to ignore the bright, shiny things on the side of the road. Trust me, I know this from experience.
But like, what is it though?
It steals children.
Oh. Well, like,
I don't
Okay.
know what you want me to say. It appears as a beautiful being and lures children, and then they're never seen again. I thought it was sort of a boogeyman myth. She's saying all this very loud, like projecting in the direction of this thing, as she is clearly like keeping an eye on it. I thought it was a myth that parents told their children to make them behave. But I guess all myths have a bit of reality in them, don't they?
all right, yeah, let's go, Dusty. Back on the road. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we just wave as we pass.
So we're going to keep our heads down, and we're going to not look at it, my young lad.
Okay, and he like pops his like collar up a little bit and like turtles it into his shirt and just kind of like stares at the back of the horse. And you can just kind of see this figure now just like beckoning out with its arms, almost like it's treading water in the air. It's hovering about 6 feet off the ground and is just like trying to call forward with its arms, and your mounts are getting a bit spooked from this thing being nearby. And they all pick up the pace as you're on the road and like are trying to like all trot by and just keep on going towards Arya. I mean, if you put on the pace, you might be able to get there in 3 hours.
Yeah, I think we pick up the pace, and I think Rowena is going to ride slightly off of the road, like, again, sort of keeping herself between the party and the thing, like, again, like, fully, like, shield up, checking in her periphery for where it is and if it's moving.
Is it following us?
It kind of observes and rotates like through just the last couple of trees of like this thicket that's about 150 feet off the road, and kind of just rotates through this like last point, or I guess the beginning point of the woods. And as you get kind of past it, kind of like just slumps back down onto the ground, and you're just staring at it kind of over your shoulder as everyone's still on the road. The pace is getting picked up. It's starting to come off into the distance. And you can just see a flash of light go off horizontally and then straight up. And it's now just turned into like this flat, two-dimensional shape, and is now just swifting and turning and gets onto the road now and is now just flying like a magic carpet after all of you.
Do we want to lead this thing back to Arya? Look, we just saved a kid. I don't want to lead it to more kids.
And it's at this point too, all of your animals, whether you want to or not, are just in a full sprint. And thankfully, your mounts are all pretty quick to where it doesn't seem like it's now gaining speed on you, but you're not sure how long you're going to be able to keep a full sprinting for 3 hours to Arya.
Well, I don't have any better ideas. It seems like fight or flight are our two options, so...
Yeah, wind's definitely rushing by in the cold night air, and Dusty's like, am I still not supposed to look at it? And just hooves and galloping, and you are all off at a swift pace. I mean, if you weren't awake before, the night air has definitely perked you up a bit, as well as, you know, the two-dimensional glowing light figure that is serpentining through the air after you.
Alanna, Caecilian, have either of you ever, I don't know, fought a star?
Nope.
I think Cass does like the only thing that he could think to do, given that he's never fought one, and he kind of just turns, riding the horse in reverse and just like lets an arrow rip to see what happens.
That's so badass.
Go ahead and roll the hit.
Hell yeah.
You're fired. Okay, 7.
Oof.
7 is gonna whiff. It goes sailing just a bit past it. It's been how long since you fired off of horseback?
10, 15 years.
Yeah. So yeah, it's it feels awkward. You're like, man, if I could just square up my hips, this would be so much easier.
Look, are they tough?
Honestly, I don't know, but if it's an actual star, which is what our myth claims it is, shouting over the wind as we're still sprinting, if it's an actual star like our myth claims it is, then I presume it's made of pure radiant energy and can probably just, I don't know, annihilate us to a crisp or something.
But
we've never really
it only
gone to
wants the kid,
investigate.
right?
Don't you dare throw that child off your horse, Bastard Hydro.
You didn't answer the question.
As he just like looks up over his shoulder at you and just like slinks down and just like grabs as much tuft of the horse as he can.
I don't know. Look, the myth says that naughty children who don't obey their parents and go to the places where the world is thin meet the beautiful being of the Starfall, and then they disappear into the darkness and are never seen again. That's all I know.
Okay, I'm going for it. Cass, like, still in reverse of it, like the reverse eating of his horse, just like pops off while the horse is still running towards Aria, and I want to like pop off and get a running start while this thing is coming at us with my sword out to like cut it. But I am jumping off of this fucking horse and letting the horse continue riding straight.
Sounds good. Roll to hit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
God damn it, chaos. 11.
An 11 is gonna nail this thing.
Yes.
Level 2.
Level 2 things. Yeah, go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh, max damage 8.
Sick. Can you also roll me a d8?
Hell yeah. Fuck, that's gonna hurt me. Just assume the worst. Oh fuck. 8.
8. Awesome. Roll 2d8.
You just crit.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I think I know. Oh
12.
no!
Oh, sorry. Tell me the value on each of the d8s.
Oh no!
Okay, an 8 and a 4.
An 8 and a 4. Can you roll 2d8 again? And tell me the values on it.
Stop rolling 8s!
A 4 and a 3.
Sick. So your sword just comes up out of the sheath over your head and just slices this thing, and it breaks off into 3 pieces. You've got a green ray shooting off to your right, you got another green ray shooting off to your left, and this yellow beam that just goes like straight up, and they get about like 40 feet away from each other, collide back in on themselves right behind you to form this like fully formed humanoid starfall that then just hugs you and blips out, and you're both gone from the road.
Ugh.
And we have 4 swift horses carrying people back off to Aria.